Greetings, everyone, and welcome. August the 17th, 2025, approaching 9 p.m. here in Ukraine. And I have waited today for the results of the meetings between Zelenskyy and European leaders in Belgium and online. And now we have a clear picture that the United States and Russia is actually trying to force Ukraine into a capitulation to give up their land for peace. And let me just make it very simple for you right now. Forget about it. Zelenskyy just making a statement. That's why I'm putting this as breaking news, making it very clear that Ukraine is in the dark about the desires that Russia has for the future and peace. And there is no way to have peace under fire and negotiate while under fire. In addition to that, talking about land and land swaps is off the table. A lot of support coming into Ukraine today from the European Union and the leaders. And I can tell you that the atmosphere inside Ukraine tonight is the same as it was on Friday. Nervous anticipation about the meeting tomorrow. Many people are expecting the United States to try to trip up Zelenskyy. I'm just telling you the Ukrainian story, trying to make him look bad, trying to put him in a bad light. But I am in full belief of our president here from Ukraine. He's going to do a phenomenal job tomorrow in DC, as well as the other European leaders that are going with him. So total capitulation, forget about it. And we're actually going to hear directly from Zelenskyy on that no capitulation deal. He spoke just a little while ago in Brussels, and you can listen to it for yourself.
Putin has many demands, but we do not know all of them. And if there are really as many as we heard, then it will take time to go through them all. It's impossible to do this under the pressure of weapons. So it's necessary to cease fire and work quickly on a final deal. We'll talk about it in Washington. Putin does not want to stop the killing, but he must do it. Second, we need real negotiations, which means they can start where the front line is now. The contact line is the best line for talking, and Europeans support this. And we thank everyone. Russia is still unsuccessful in Donetsk region. Putin has been unable to take it for 12 years. And the constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible to give up territory or trade land. Since the territorial issue is so important, it should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that trilateral will happen. And if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow.
So there you have it. Of course, Zelenskyy going back to the hard line there that Trump was supposed to be very stern with Putin about sanctions and if the meeting didn't go well. But what we actually got was Trump tweeting out today how great a meeting it was. But the reality is he's pushing for capitulation. Trump even saying that, okay, Russia keep Lugansk and get Donetsk. That is why Zelenskyy just literally told the world that Putin has been trying to get Donetsk for 12 years and he has been unable to. And listen, Ukraine will not give up Donetsk. So we are already set up for a serious conflict tomorrow in Washington, D.C. And of course, we'll be watching and monitoring it. I can tell you that we are under air alarms right now here in Ukraine. And in addition to that, not the full Ukraine in various regions. In addition to that, Ukraine fighting and defending their territory, making positive moves in 2 or 3 areas on the front line. Now, let's continue with this. On the Sunday talk shows in the United States, Rubio, the Secretary of State, Witkoff, the envoy to Russia, who is absolutely unqualified, U.S. Secretary of State Rubio saying the only way to reach an agreement is when each side gets something and gives something. That is why Zelensky is coming to Washington tomorrow. We'll leave that there for a second. Steve Witkoff saying Washington intends to discuss the issue of territorial exchange between Russia and Ukraine at the meetings with Zelensky on August the 18th. The concessions Russia agreed to consist of not capturing the whole of Ukraine entirely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the biggest bunch of hooey I've ever heard in my entire life. First of all, Russia has captured Ukrainian sovereign territory, so it is not a swap for Ukraine to give back to Russia Ukrainian territory. In addition to that, threatening talk by Witkoff about the good thing is Russia's not going to take all of Ukraine. What a clown statement that is. And that is why Zelensky has come back out tonight and said he couldn't even take Donetsk in 12 years. Do I seem a little amped up right now? Yes. I've been talking to my friends here in Ukraine. I've been talking to military. I've been talking to soldiers, and they're very frustrated by this, and they just want to get beyond tomorrow. Let's see where the chips will lay, and let's get on with defending Ukraine and liberating Ukraine against that Russian evil invasion. I mean, a land swap? What are you swapping? You're swapping Ukraine for Ukraine. It doesn't work that way, period. Look forward to your thoughts on that in the comments. Let's continue. Macron also coming out, the president of France. There is only one country offering peace, and that peace is a capitulation. That's Russia. Europeans will ask Trump to what extent he will join security guarantees. To conclude a long-lasting peace, Ukraine needs a strong army, according to Macron. The situation before tomorrow's talks in Washington is extremely serious. You know, these talks tomorrow are actually equal to or more important than the talks that happened Friday. On Friday, we saw Donald Trump in the United States, my home country, roll out the red carpet for a war criminal and a butcher. Tomorrow, European leaders and the president of Ukraine will be coming in. What kind of welcome and what kind of atmosphere will they have? It is critical right now, ladies and gentlemen. Ursula von der Leyen making her statements in a joint press conference just a few minutes ago with President Zelensky. Ukraine decides its own destiny, but it can always count on Europe. Number two, Ukraine's international borders cannot be changed by force. These decisions are to be made by Ukraine alone. Zelensky confirming tonight once again that it's in the Constitution. Tomorrow, Ukraine will decide its fate, but Europe standing with Ukraine. The 19th sanctions package will be adopted in September. Ukraine must not have restrictions regarding its armed forces, the same as Macron says, and the EU and the coalition of the willing are ready to make their contribution into the security guarantees for Ukraine. They can be or will be something like the fifth article of NATO. That is what Ursula is stating. So tomorrow, what are we looking at? We're looking at Vladimir Zelensky, Ursula von der Leyen, Friedrich Merz, Giorgia Meloni, Italy, of course, Germany, Alexander Stubb, Finland, Mark Rutte, NATO, Emmanuel Macron, France, Keir Starmer, Great Britain. It's quite a coalition of nations they're coming to DC. This is going to be, this could be, I personally believe it. I'm sorry for that pause there, but I'm honestly thinking this is going to be the day that determines where we go forward into this fall and winter in the struggle for Ukrainian independence. I think tomorrow, August the 18th, is possibly the most important meeting that has happened yet. Now, President Zelensky said, we don't even understand what Russia is asking for yet by complete confirmation. But as we understand, this is what Ukraine sees. Ukraine's full withdrawal from Donetsk and Lugansk region. That means literally giving up the fortress cities of Kramatorsk and Slavyansk, Druzhkivka, Konstantinivka, and I remind you, pre-war, that is an urban metro area of up to 500,000 people metro. It's a large area. Ukraine still defending Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, which is a metro area of 100,000 people. These are big, big cities and places. Freezing Zelenskyy, as we understand, freezing the front line in Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. Russia also wants to declare that they will withdraw from Sumy and Kharkiv. That's Ukrainian territory anyway. Formal recognition by the world of Crimea as Russia, lifting some sanctions against Russia, official status of the Russian language in Ukraine, and for the Russian Orthodox Church to operate freely, Ukraine barred from joining NATO, and some sort of security guarantees for Ukraine, in which we're still hearing Russia wants to offer security again for Ukraine, of course, to make them into that state with Russia. And we're also hearing that China wants to offer security guarantees. Now, as this is happening, are you paying attention to India and China? Of course, with BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, others. India and China, their relations are thawing and they're warming up quickly. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi will meet with Indian Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi on Tuesday, August the 19th, after the 18th meeting there in Washington, D.C., and in addition to that, U.S.-India trade talks have been canceled. The United States delegation will not travel to New Delhi on August 25th through the 29th as planned. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are at tonight after 9 p.m. here in Ukraine, up to the minute. I assume that President Zelenskyy, other European leaders will be traveling through the night to D.C., and I do not even know at what time the meeting is tomorrow. I do not know if it's been made public yet, but we will be covering it and reporting to you, especially the Ukrainian perspective here from Ukraine. So you guys be blessed. Have a good night. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, and helping us share truth and grow together. Be blessed tonight.